Today, we're going to be taking a look at the Marvel Legends Moon Knight from I'm not 100% sure, and what comic style I'm also not 100% sure. This is a Moon Knight. He was relatively cheap, so I picked him up. I like Moon Knight's design. I always have, and I particularly liked this one because the suit isn't completely white. I like the black in the Moon Knight suit. That is one thing I like. I'm not as big of a fan of the pure white suit. I know that's kind of his whole thing, but I like the black. I really do. This black makes it look so much nicer, and I like that the white is kind of more of an accent in this suit compared to what you usually see out of a Moon Knight suit. As far as he goes, he looks pretty good. His arm detailing is pretty nice, having some armor plating on the shoulders and the forearms, and also the hands. I do actually quite like the armor plating. The chest has the same thing with having a large chest piece, and then down at the waist, a couple little parts down there. The legs are fairly barren, with them just mostly being black, with a bit of plating down on the shins, or the side of his legs, I guess. And then he has his shoes, which are just white. The head sculpt is pretty generic, if we're being honest. It's just kind of a plain black masked head, which could probably pass for almost any masked character in Marvel. If they have a fully masked head sculpt, I could genuinely see that as a Deadpool head. I'm not joking. It's that generic of a masked head, but he does have the hood on it, which is glued on. I'm sure there's a way to get that out of there, but why would you? It's not Moon Knight if he doesn't have the hood and the cape. And the cape looks pretty good, though. It's, of course, just a giant hunk of rubber. That's the usual Hasbro shtick. The cape can be lifted, which can reveal a bit of armor detailing underneath the cape as well, but it does peg in if you want. I don't know why you'd want to peg that in, genuinely. It's perfectly well and good on its own. As far as he goes, though, I do like this figure's look a lot. It's a very nice Moon Knight look. I love armor. It's a weird thing that I've found out. People don't like the bulky armor things. One that I've seen lately, and it's a weird one, kind of weird. Marvel rivals Captain America. If you know what that looks like, he has kind of like this armored look. I love that design. I actually really like it. People don't like it, though, because, oh, he's supposed to be just a tank on his own. He's not supposed to be, have armor. He's supposed to be kind of bulletproof. I don't care. I think the armor works. It's not super clunky-looking armor. In this case, this armor isn't clunky-looking. This armor wouldn't restrict movement based on if you look at it. Yes, there's some shoulder pads, but it's not going to restrict anything because most of the core areas of movement are available. So this works, in my opinion. I love the look of that. This guy actually comes with a heap of accessories, starting off with his hands that he has on right now, which one of them is not on out of the box. These are his holding hands, which work for quite a few of his accessories. First and foremost, his batons, which are able to combine together, but I usually recognize Moon Knight as wielding two batons, so you can kind of give him those, which are pretty good. I mean, that's a pretty good accessory right there to give him. Kind of hard to not have those with the Moon Knight. And again, you can combine them into one stick, but you get a larger stick if you don't want that one, which I think the same stick comes with the X-Men 97 Gambit, because I have that figure too. Yeah, he can't hold the stick too good. Neither can Gambit. Once the hand's kind of flexed, it's kind of screwed. But I do appreciate them, including the stick. It's a very nice stick. It's a pole, and you can do things with that. But again, he can't hold it very good unless I put sticky tack in his hand, which I'm not going to do, because I don't really have a reason for the stick. I kind of prefer the batons. And his final accessory is what I call the Moonerangs. I'm not sure what these are actually called, but I call them the Moonerangs because he's kind of like he's an off-brand Batman in a way. That's how I've always seen Moon Knight, is he's Batman-ish. He's a vigilante type. And is very much going to do harm to his, criminals that he's after. The Moonerang's pretty cool, though. This is the large Moonerang. However, you get 3 itty-bitty ones as well, which are not for this setup. He does have 2 fisted hands, which of course he does, which just do the whole peg thing. But with this one here, there's some holes in the knuckles, which are for his smaller Moonerangs. Now, these things are not really great to put in, if I'm being honest, because I find I always have to lean on one, and that'll knock it out, because there's not really a easy peasy way to get them in. They're a little too flexy, and they're a little small, and quite frankly, they don't hold super good, but you can get the kind of triple moonerang thing going. Again, not sure what these are called. I'm just calling them moonerangs because that's what they remind me of. This is the Moon Knight Marvel Rivals edition right here. Look at that. He has the ability. He doesn't have an Ankh, though, so he can't do his stupid broken ability with Ankhs. Stupid Ankh Knight. But that's still pretty nice. I do like the look of it, and I think it's pretty sick. Honestly, they at least thought about giving him the ability to do it. I feel like somebody probably glued those in, though, honestly. That's be a pretty obvious thing to glue. I like the big one better, honestly. This big one, which also Marvel Rivals ability, weirdly enough. But I think the big one just works a little better because I feel like I'm going to lose the small ones, and he can hold this one really well, so it works out a little better. And again, can't really hold the stick too well unless it's like at a super angle like that, but still works. And that pretty well concludes his accessories, which, again, good chunk, honestly. But yeah, let's just get into the articulation, which is perfectly passable. He does have an up and down at the head, which he can look down a fair bit, despite the whole hood setup and this whole thing here. Forward, back, outward, swivel at the bicep, double elbow, rotation at the wrist, up and down. Does have a forward and a back at the ab crunch area, a waist swivel, forward, back, outward, swivel at the thigh, a double knee joint, foot tilt, forward and back, and in out. So he is pretty well packing all of the typical articulation you'd expect from a basic Hasbro action figure. He doesn't have any butterflies, which is a bit of a shame. I wish he had them, but he doesn't. But otherwise, this figure's pretty solid, and I don't really have anything bad to say about him, because I quite like this design. So let's get into my final thoughts. As far as it goes with this figure, I don't know really what they could have did different. I like him a lot, actually. Again, I know people want soft goods capes. I'm kind of good with the rubber one, because I like how this one has a natural flow to it. But overall, I'm actually just a fan of this Moon Knight design, honestly. As far as designs go, I have my favorites, and again, I don't know who made this. I'm going to have to look in to see who made this particular design. It's like this Thor. This is my favorite Thor design, is Harold Thor. I love this design. I know he's Fortnite Thor. I know. I don't care. I've still loved this design. I've been repping this skin in Marvel Rivals since launch because that was his launch skin. And it's not changed, and I don't think it ever will, because it is my favorite design of a Thor. I love it. And again, if they ever do this in Marvel Rivals, take my money. Yes, I know I'm bringing up Marvel Rivals a lot. That's because, well, Moon Knight, to me, in recent memory, I mean, before that, he was kind of a more obscure character. I knew who he was. As a kid, I always liked his design. But, you know, he has the TV show, which I did really like, which I don't think we're ever going to get season 2 of, unfortunately. And in Marvel Rivals, well, he was my initial pick for a main, but then he was a little too broken, and I felt a little too bad playing him, because he was kind of a skillless character, if I'm being honest. People use the Ankh. I didn't even know how the Ankh worked. I kid you not. Did not know. Anyway, if I could get a 3D printed Ankh for this guy, and I could put him in the pose, I would do it. Because the moon haunts you. But as far as the figure goes, I'm giving him a 4 out of 5. I like him. Accessories are good. He comes with everything I think he should come with. Not really much more I could say, honestly. The only thing that's a little odd to me is the big stick. The big pole staff is nice, but I don't think it was 100% necessary for me, at least. It might be for this design. I'm not sure. But, yeah, honestly, pretty solid figure. And again, I only paid like 20 bucks for him. So, yeah, I mean, not bad, honestly. Pretty good. I always get a lot of my Marvel Legends cheap. I say that. I don't. I have a lot more now. I have a lot more. that Storm and Wolverine caused an issue with X-Men. It caused an issue. You'll see when I do my top 25 video. That's what I'm doing as a top 25 best figures this year. You will see when I do it. When that gets done, I don't know, but it'll happen. But that is it for this review. This has been my review of Marvel Legends Moon Knight. It's been Elite signing out.